Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. As you know, I am a big Wade Boggs collector, and I have been very fortunate to have met him 9 times at different card shows and signing events. And since I started my YouTube channel, I had always hoped that maybe someday I would actually get to interview Wade Boggs on my channel. Well, after bugging him a few times, I think I finally wore him down and he agreed to come on and do an interview with me. So let me introduce Hall of Famer Wade Boggs.
Good afternoon,
Wade,
John.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I know we don't have a lot of your time, but I have some questions here that you've probably done countless interviews about your career, being a Hall of Famer, 3,000 hits, World Series with the New York Yankees, playing for two storied franchises, the Red Sox and, of course, the Yankees. But today I'd like to talk to you about some things I think viewers of my channel would be interested in, and that is baseball cards, memorabilia, and interacting with your fans. So, to start things off, I think the first obvious question would be, as a kid, did you ever collect baseball cards?
Well, I collected them on the spokes of my bicycles to where
Yeah,
I could have the vroom vroom vroom, one of those. I think
a
every
lot of
kid
kids
did
did
that
that.
growing
Yes,
up, and somewhere along the line, I guarantee I had a couple Mantles and a couple of Hall of Famers on the spokes of my bicycle, but
yep.
not really a card collector per se.
Well, back then, yeah, kids just they had it. It wasn't necessarily a collection. They had cards, but they didn't consider like today's collections and stuff. Did you have any particular players that you liked or collected back in the day?
Well, it wasn't a more or less a collection. It was players that I sort of idolized, and that was Pete Rose and Reggie Jackson.
Oh,
I grew up in Georgia, so I was
mhm,
a Braves fan in the '60s. But once I moved to Tampa, I became an Oakland A fan.
okay.
Silly enough, I'm in Florida and
Yeah,
an Oakland A fan. They wound up winning the World Series in '72, '73, and '74,
yep.
and and historic teams. And
Oh, yeah,
and
and Reggie was a
and,
big part of those
and
teams.
he was a big part of that. And so that was probably where it all the love. I mean, the love of baseball has always been there naturally. But
Yeah,
growing up with Hank Aaron and Felix Millan and Phil Niekro and Cecil Upshaw and Rico Cardi and all of those Braves teams back in the day, uh, really the only time I got to really enjoy baseball was on the radio, and that
yeah,
was with Milo Hamilton and Ernie Johnson, because back then the only games that you really got were games of the week, and that was on
yep,
Saturday.
yeah,
And if you had a favorite team, you rarely ever got to see that team play,
yeah,
and there was no streaming or go to the
yep,
internet and find your team and watch it, or even local coverage to
yeah.
for that fact. And the only Major League Baseball game that I ever went to was the very first one I played in.
Hmm.
I had never ever gone to a Major League Baseball game,
Wow.
other than spring training, but
Okay.
a regular season baseball game I had never attended. So
Wow.
it was kind of crazy. My first game in in Baltimore was the first big league game I had ever attended.
Wow,
And,
that was what, old Memorial Stadium, I think?
right, Old
Yeah.
Memorial Stadium,
Yeah.
and it was kind of crazy because when you grow up watching all these teams on TV, you really don't understand what the ballpark looks like, and
Yeah.
and Tiger Stadium was one of those
Hmm.
that I thought that the fences were really short. And when I got to Tiger Stadium, they were really short. I think the fence was only 6 feet high.
Oh, wow.
And but only watched a few games growing up, Fenway Park, because naturally Had no idea what the monster looked like. And the very first time I walked out of the dugout and saw the monster, I went, oh my gosh, this thing, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, what
And
is it? 40 feet high or something like that? I'm
the
not sure
monster is
exactly, but
37 feet high. Yeah.
30.
And
Okay, I was close. Yeah.
37. But it just, it's so intimidating because it's so close, and all you have to do is just get a little bit stronger, and that's what I did, and able to utilize that wall.
Yeah. Well, of those, cards that you had in your bike spokes and stuff, do you happen to still have any of those, or have they been long thrown away?
Oh, they've been long gone for forever. I always thought that once I used to clean out my grandmother's attic, that I was going to find
Yep.
boxes and boxes of cards that my grandfather or whomever had collected, but didn't happen.
Yeah. Yep. So now that you've been a Major League Baseball player and have had, trust me, thousands of cards made of you, do you have any of your baseball cards?
Oh yeah, my wife Debbie, she tries to find one of every card,
Okay.
and we've probably got 4 or 5 books of cards dating back to the rookie card, and
Nice.
so it's it's neat for the grandkids to thumb through and see how many cards, and we start books for them as well.
Good. I
So
I didn't realize that, Debbie was a potential adversary with me on eBay for some
well,
of
I,
your
I, I
cards.
don't think it will go that far, but
Yeah.
if we can pick up a card or two when people give it to me at shows or something
Yeah.
like that, that's where it all ends.
Nice, nice. Um, Now, one aspect, that you're obviously, familiar with over the last, oh boy, maybe even dating back to the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, card companies now have players sign cards and include them in packs. So, how often do card companies send you cards to sign for upcoming releases?
Quite often, I do a lot with Panini and Tops,
Yep.
and I have contracts with them to sign X amount. I mean, whether it's 1,400 or 1,700 or what have you. Um, they're all limited editions. They're ones of ones. They're 15 of 15s,
Yep.
and they're all sets. So um, it's it's a good deal.
Yeah. Now, I know there are two versions that card companies use. They have the player sign on the card, and they also have them sign stickers that then they later take and put on the card maybe during the production or whatever. Um, which do you prefer, signing on the card or signing the stickers?
The card, 100%.
Yeah.
My sticker autograph doesn't look like my autograph,
I
and
I, I, w- I was going to bring that up because
it's such a
for those
small
that are
area. It's such a small area that you have to write in, and you really can't get the the novelty of my signature. So it's
right.
it's one of those that you've got to try to fit it all in this little area. I'd much rather sign the cards. It's it's more of
Yeah.
what my signature looks like.
I prefer your on-card autograph because your autograph in particular. Now there may be other players that it doesn't matter the way they sign their name, but you have a nice big bold W and the B, and I just love how bold your signature is on card versus the sticker. Because again, I can definitely tell a difference as well. You try to fit, and you're not able to do your normal pen stroke,
No,
and so
but
yeah,
yeah, because that there's probably 25, 30 stickers on the thing, so you don't want to smudge other ones that are on it. So you're kind of delicate with the autograph, but yeah, I'd much rather sign the cards.
yeah. How long does it take? You said you sign a contract for maybe 1,400, 1,700 cards, and they come, sporadically throughout the year. But how long does it take you to sign all those?
I could probably do 500 in a little over an hour,
Okay.
probably. Yeah, hour and a half, something
I'm
like
sure your
that.
hand gets tired at the
Well,
end.
it gets cramped up a little bit at times, but it's it's all enjoyable.
Yeah. I know, again, as part of collecting your cards, back in the mid 2005s, there were a lot more card companies there are today. There was Fleer, there was Upper Deck that did baseball cards, and they had a ton of different sets. And I know the number of autograph cards in my checklist of you during that 2004 to maybe 2006 was just astronomical. What was it like back then, if you remember? Because I'm sure you got, again, package upon package upon package to sign. Was it a bit overwhelming? I'm sure it's a little bit easier now.
Oh, it's a lot easier now. Naturally, there's only, I think, two major companies that are out there. But back in the day, um, I still did a lot of work with Panini and Tops, but not too much with the Fleer and Don Russ or what have you with those.
Yeah.
It was probably very limited.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on here to game used memorabilia. You may or not be may not be aware that back in the late '90s, card companies said, "Hey, let's try something new and unique here, and let's put some game used memorabilia pieces, either a jersey or a bat piece, as part of the card." And when it first came out, and I have an example here. This is a card of yours from 2005. It's an Upper Deck card, and it has a piece of your jersey, what looks to be a Red Sox away jersey. And on the back of the card, it says you've received a game used jersey card from the Upper Deck Company. On the front of this card is an authentic piece of a jersey worn by Wade Boggs in an official Red Sox Major League Baseball game. Okay. Now, over time, and especially for retired players, I think the card companies said, "Hey, we're starting to run out of material here because there's only so many of your jerseys that are still around, not in private collections, that these card companies can buy and put into small pieces on a baseball card." And maybe over the last 5 years or so, here's one of your cards from the latest Topps product. Really like that image of you. And again, it has what looks to be a Red Sox away jersey piece. But what they've done is they started using some different language. And it says the memorabilia contained in this card is not from any specific game, event, or season. Now, I don't know if you'd be allowed to answer this, and if not, I fully understand. But have you been approached by, say, Tops when you're at a certain event, signing or whatever, to wear, to put on a Red Sox jersey for a little while and then hand it back to them for them to include in cards?
Never.
Never.
No. And
Hmm.
I've never given a uniform to any card company anyway.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
would
I think most of them buy from the secondary market. Now,
right.
the reason why I bring this up, and to be honest with you, it wouldn't matter to me if you had said yes, and that maybe this one was just from an event that you wore. Me personally, I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. I know some collectors, especially for modern players, um, the fact that they've heard stories or rumors or things where players would just put on a shirt for a couple of minutes, take it off, put another one on, and the card companies would use that as event worn. And it sort of to me, it takes away from the potential authenticity, the fact that, hey, this was maybe a game worn jersey by this particular player. But like I said, for me and your cards, whether it would be something from an event or game worn, I have enough that I think were the true game warns if that were the case. But I appreciate you letting us know that at least you haven't experienced a situation like that where, say, Tops has asked you to just put on a jersey for an event. And I also appreciate, this is sort of a little bit off topic, but I know our good friend Rich Davis and some others have reached out to you, say on Twitter, about an autograph, a potential autograph item, whether it be on a card or a poster or something like that. And you've given feedback of, nah, I don't really think that's my autograph. So we as collectors appreciate you as a player, letting people know that, hey, I don't remember signing this, or this doesn't look game used, or yeah, that's just not my autograph. So
Well, that's the thing about memorabilia is the counterfeit part of it. I think that when the back in the I think it was the late '80s that the Mets clubhouse got popped. That they were signing everybody's autograph and selling it and go and had a pretty good sting going.
mhm.
But there's so much counterfeit stuff out there, and I mean somebody's trying to make a quick buck,
Yep.
and they say it's a game used jersey and it's a size 28,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like, oh yeah, this is Wade Boggs' game used jersey, and it's one that he wore, and it's a size 28.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I don't think I was ever that small in the big leagues, but and then I get them at shows that people will come up and say, hey, this is a game used bat, and
Yep.
I say, no, it's not,
Yeah.
because I have certain things on my game used bats that I know whether it's legit or not.
Yep.
And these are things for me to know and suspecting counterfeiters not to know.
Yep.
So, and same way with 8x10s and various things that I sign. There's encrypted various things in these autographs that when I look at it, I go, no, that's not. I mean, there's some good counterfeiters out
Yeah.
there. Don't get me wrong. I
Yep.
mean, they've done their homework. I saw one from Richard yesterday with the guy trying to sell White Sox uh, T-shirt,
The mustache,
and
and
it
he
was
said it
a
was a Wade
Wade
Boggs.
Boggs Red Sox, and I guess they were trying to pass off SOX as Red Sox,
Sorry.
but I I didn't know who the player was,
Yeah.
but yeah, I sort of squashed that bug right there.
Yeah. Well, I remember at I forget which show it was, but I had you sign a bat for me because I didn't have one personalized to me. And I remember specifically you looked at the model and you said, I never used this type of bat. So it's like a store model. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I was aware. But yeah, you quickly pointed out you knew the number and all that stuff. And you said, hey, I just so you know, I never used this type of bat. So yeah.
And I get people come up to me in shows that they bring a batting title year jersey, and I have them. So in order for and they want game used on it, and I said I can't put game used on it because I have them.
Yeah.
So you only get during the season you get 2 white, 2 road, and that's all you got. And I got a few more when I was with Tampa Bay, but I had extra ones made because it was chasing 3,000 and various things like that. But when I was with Boston and New York, you'd get 2 white, which were home, and 2 gray, which were road. And sometimes some clubs will make up extra ones in order to in case they get stolen or something like that.
Or ripped, you slide into base or something like that, and you tear it or something like that. But yeah.
Well, there's when they're handling the luggage and your numbers on the luggage anyway.
Yeah.
And at the end of my career, I had to lock my bat bags. I had to lock my equipment bags because you don't know who is handling the merchandise going from point A to point B. So these were the disturbing things that you'd get back to Boston or New York or something like that, or Tampa Bay, and one of your fielding gloves is gone, or your shoes are gone, or your jersey's gone, or something like that, and 5 or 6 years later, they turn up at card shows wanting them signed. So, and bats were probably the worst.
Yeah.
Those were the worst. I had to keep those under lock and key because I'd go on a road trip with 20 or 25 bats and come home with 4.
Gosh. Well, you sort of answered my next question is that I know you had a lot of your game used memorabilia you had collected and kept, and over a period of years, I think working with Celeb Z Direct, you sold a lot of game used stuff. I know that a lot of it is probably in Rich's collection. I have, I think, one or two pieces from them that I purchased directly or say off their eBay listing. So I have their certificate of authenticity and your signature from them that says this was game worn. But what do you still have? You said you have like some batting year jerseys. So what game used memorabilia do you still have? And maybe what's your most prized game used piece? I know you have your trophies and stuff, but in terms of your game used stuff, what do you have and what's your prized piece?
Well, I have all my batting title years in Boston. I have the jersey that still got the champagne from the World Series. I had both of my World Series jerseys. So, but one of them's all has the stains from the champagne on the jersey. So
Yep.
that makes it legitimate. I
Oh
have the
yeah.
whole uniform for my 3,000 hit.
Mm.
So that's pants, belt, socks, shoes, jersey, and so those are probably the biggest items that I do have left. Naturally, I've got my silver bats and silver sluggers and gold gloves and things of those natures. I've still got those. Those will probably go to my kids and grandkids,
Oh
but
yeah.
rather than get rid of those. But just the stuff that was in the attic of old uniforms and pants and belts and stirrups and shoes and things of that nature. Warm ups, warm up tops and jackets. Those are all long gone. Hats.
Yep.
I was one of those hat guys that kept every hat that
Yep.
I ever wore, and 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 I still have one Red Sox cap with the leather band inside. I
Oh
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, those are. I'm trying to remember whether it was '82 or '83, which was the last year they went from leather bands inside. Those were brutal.
Yeah.
You could always tell that when you'd sit there and you'd have a hot day, your hat would sit there and expand, and then you'd have it on the next day and it starts shrinking, and you'd have this band go across your forehead. You know that the guys were wearing leather band hats, but I
Wow.
still have one of those left.
Yep.
But
Well, my dream is to someday have. I have a game used Red Sox bat that you've actually signed as game used, but to have a home Red Sox jersey, a Red Sox hat, and Red Sox cleats. I have a pair of your Yankees game used cleats and some batting gloves. Uh, but yeah, someday I would hope it again. A lot of these are in private collections now, so hopefully, maybe someday someone will decide to part with it, and maybe I can get one someday. But that would be my dream personal collection to have a hat, a jersey, and cleats from the Red Sox, a home version. So,
well, the Ted Williams Museum dissolved itself and gave me my contents back. So
oh,
I'll I'll send you what I've got, and maybe we can work something out.
all right, I would love that. Yeah,
Good
that would
deal.
be great.
Good deal.
All right, all right. All right. Now on to card shows and different events. How many card shows and signings do you typically attend a year?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think I've already done 3 this year. I've got
Yeah.
the Hall of Fame. I'll do one in the Hall of Fame. Then I'll be at the National,
Right.
and then I have I believe 3 after that. There's a Chantilly one,
All right.
and I think there's another one in let's see, up in upstate New York, near Yonkers or something like that. So it'll probably work out to about 8.
All right. All right. What do you like most about attending those shows?
Stories that people tell, and they about growing up being a fan of mine. That's the neat part, and bringing their young kids to the shows, and then they're indoctrinating the young kids into being Wade Boggs fans. So
Yes.
that's the neat part about expanding the generation, and the dad telling the son and showing him on YouTube or what have that hey, you need to watch this guy, and it's just the interaction between myself and the fans. That's the part that I enjoy.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure it's nice as well to, depending on who else is signing that particular day, if it's teammates or other players that you played with or against over the years, also there at that day, maybe you get a chance to say hi to some of those people that you don't see very often.
Well, backstage is really neat. I mean, you've got football players and wrestlers and basketball players and the kids from Sandlot, and you've got actors. I met Catherine Bach from Dukes of Hazards and I Dream of Jeannie,
Okay.
and so you get to meet actors, the cast from Major League
Nice.
and and Charlie Sheen and all the guys that were in Major League. But yeah, it's kind of potluck who you're going to run into backstage, and a lot of these shows over and over and over, you see the same guys and catch up on old times
Yep.
and see your hockey guys and they're some of the shows, but the national is where you see a lot of diversity as far as different sports.
Yeah. And I think you're scheduled now to be there Sunday. I think originally you were trying to hope to get there on the Friday, but I think did I hear correctly that you're maybe scheduled to be there on Sunday at the
Yeah,
National?
originally we were gonna try to use Friday as the Hall of Fame day, that all the Hall of Famers were going to be on Friday,
Okay.
and now they've switched all the Hall of Famers to Sunday.
Oh, okay. Well, so for those of you out there who will be attending the National, if you do want to get a picture taken with Wade or something signed by him, make sure you attend the show on Sunday. One quick observation: attending different shows that you've been signing. I remember hearing a couple comments from people waiting in line of saying like, "Man, why is Wade's line just taking so long compared to other players?" And I defend you, and actually I say, hey, the reason why it's going so slow is you take the time to have just a little bit of an interaction with that person who took their time out to get something signed by you. I know there are other players, not necessarily by name, but I've just observed that they'll take whatever item, say, "Oh, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you." They'll sign whatever it is and maybe a quick photo op, and they just have a move on. And it's just, hey, let me get through signing this stuff. Not that it's an imposition, but for you, just observing, being in the line, you'll say, "Hey, what's your name? This or whatever." They'll bring something up, and you'll have that little interaction, which I think as collectors we really appreciate. So thank you for doing that and making those signings a little bit extra special. I think for those people who get something signed by you.
Well, that's the key word, John, is special. That somebody, uh, when it's pretty expensive to get an autograph, and I value that, and to the fact that I want it to be an experience, not only for the person getting the autograph, but maybe their children are there also, and and make them feel like they're part of the show. And I apologize that it does take a while to get through the people, but I thank the fans and carry on a conversation with them, and maybe it's only 30 seconds, but
Yep.
30 seconds or 45 seconds add up when
Yeah.
you've got a line and people waiting to get autographs and then getting another line. And
Yeah.
I understand that they have possibly 6 or 7 players or autographs that they need to get in the day, and they're going to be in line all day.
Yep.
And but I wouldn't really want the opposite of that, to where wow, Wade Boggs, he doesn't even talk to his
Yeah.
fans, and he doesn't even look up at them. He just signs it and hands it back.
Yeah,
That that
and
would be the worst.
I
That would
think
be the worst.
collectors really do really do appreciate that. The ones that may have issues, again, are ones that, again, they may be looking to, get something and to sell it or whatever the case may be, but aren't there necessarily to say, "Oh, man, I've always wanted to meet Wade Boggs and see how it is and talk to him," and that's what they're there for. Yeah, the autograph and stuff, but just to say hi and to talk for maybe even just like 30 seconds. So, again, my opinion is keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Jim.
Um, Another aspect within the little niche within the hobby are, through the mail autographs, TTMs, where, collectors send cards of players to, mostly retired players, to their residence or wherever, and have them sign cards. And from even though that's not really what I do, from watching other channels, I know, people have said, good things about you, that you are, one, a very timely, and responsive, TTMer, through the mail. So, quick question is, how often do you get stuff in the mail that people request your signatures, say on some baseball cards?
40 or 50 times a day. But it goes to my charities that I support, and otherwise I wouldn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just stick to card shows and various things like that. I've been involved with cystic fibrosis and pediatric cancer for a long time,
Yep.
and so it gives them a, a little bit of relief
Yeah.
for me doing that through the mail. But
Well, that's great. So for those out there who are interested in, sending something to you to sign, I believe it $10 per signature per card?
well, that's 20. But
20. Okay,
yeah,
well, I'm glad. Yeah. So, all right.
yeah.
So $20 per card per signature. All right. And is it, I think since you definitely get a lot of stuff in the mail, I think your address is out there, but would you mind if I would, share that in the description of this, video? I think it's the address that I have for you. Is that the
Yeah,
main?
you've sent stuff here.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that address then, so I will, post that in the description for those of you who are interested in sending something down the Wade. Again, $20 per card, going to some great charities, and I'll have his address in the description of the video here. I know we're running up to about our time here, but just a couple, quick things here. Now, I want you to give me your honest answer here. I won't be offended, but what do you think about the fans out there, like myself, like Rich, like the other members of the Boggs Trust, that have spent so many years putting collections like this together? Are you flattered? Are you a little freaked out of,
No,
what do you think about collectors like us?
I'm astonished. I really am. Like you said, the Boggs Trust is growing,
Yep.
and I think we have a couple ladies that are jumping on board that
Yep.
want to be classified in the Boggs Trust, and I think it's great. I really do. It keeps me current because you guys are always on Twitter, thank goodness,
Yep.
and there's always new Wade Boggs things out there. I think Rich finally, or not, yeah, Richard found a poster,
Yep.
uh, a Starline poster that they had done back in the day, and he didn't have
Yeah.
it. So
And it's rare for him not to have something.
it's rare. Believe me, this guy has everything under the planet, and I'll have a couple things at the house that I do, maybe a celebrity fishing tournament or something like that, and they put my name on a t-shirt, and I
Yep.
know that he doesn't have one of those, so at a show I'll take him one,
Yep.
and he sort of goes over the moon when I bring him stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah, I've been to 1 or 2 of those, things at the
He
National when
just he
you
just loves
presented.
that. He just loves that to death. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm honored that you guys and gals are cornering the market on everything that I've ever worn.
we
but
we, we like to think we're curators, that we're
I
preserving your history for
believe
the next
believe me,
generations.
museum needs anything, they can go to you guys because I
Yeah.
think you have everything that I've ever put on or or like I said, worn or used or anything along those lines. So
Yep.
I I thank you guys and gals for that.
Yeah. Well, I noticed one thing in the background, that little poster with the little jersey there of 26. I think Upper Deck or the Hall of Fame put that out, and I know a few of us, including myself, have been trying to find those out there. We know that there's some out there, but we just can't find a copy. I know Rich has one of those, and I think maybe uh, John from up in Massachusetts.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he may have one, but the few of us like myself, we're looking for that little Hall of Fame thing with the little facsimile 26 jersey. But um, lastly, and I'm going to sort of open this up to you here. Are there any upcoming events or signings, things that you would like to promote? I believe later this year, the Devil Rays are going to induct you into their Hall of Fame. So, is there anything
Yeah.
out there that you'd like to promote that you're going to be doing or a part of?
Well, that's July 9th. The Rays. I'm in the inaugural class of the Hall of Fame for the Tampa Bay Rays. Myself, Don Zimmer, and Carl Crawford. I will be in Cooperstown on Main Street Friday and Saturday during the Hall of Fame induction weekend, and the National, yeah, on Sunday. So those are probably the three big events that I have coming up this summer. And come out, say hi, and we'll chat.
Great, great. Last thing. I know you've always been a fan of Miller Lite, and lately I've seen that you're doing this little sort of promotion or partnership with Pabst Blue Ribbon and
Right.
Cool Blue. If you want to maybe say a little bit something like that, I just love those little video things of your conspiracy theories, and so
Yeah, we had a good time putting that together, and Past Blue Ribbon approached me and put this together, and the writers were brilliant. I mean, when they put all of this together, and it's a pretty good spiel. I'm trying to get PBR to do the Wade Boggs bobbleheads.
yeah, yeah,
I've got the one. They said they
okay,
only made one in China. I've got
okay,
the one at my house. Debbie will not depart with that one,
yeah,
so
yeah,
we don't even have to worry about that. But
yeah,
I'm going to try to get PBR to possibly get back because the likeness was unbelievable. They had it
oh
made.
yeah,
So we're gonna work on that, and yeah, it's neat. Go to boggsisblue.com to see all the funny blurps from Cool Blue is Wade Boggs.
yeah. It has sort of like an X Files. I don't know if you remember that show of the
Right.
conspiracies and all that. I loved it. So that's great. You're doing that. So yeah, that's all I have
Good deal.
for you. Thank you so much again, Wade, for doing this interview. This has been one of the thrills of my life, being able to do this as a longtime fan. So again, thank you very much, and to everyone watching, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.
Thanks, John.